I enjoy how in our school every lesson is somehow linked to diversity.
It used to be the odd lesson where we talked about diversity, but now it never stops.
Just tell me a little bit more about what you do when you go into schools and you talk to kids.
Yeah, sure. Well, what we do is we make sure that all schools are adhering to their statutory duties around the inclusion of gender identity and sexual orientation, because there still is a fear around this. So what we try and do is eradicate those fears, and we want to know, and the schools need to know, that there is legal framework around this. So all schools are adhering to the Equality Act 2010.
It's part of the curriculum now.
It's absolutely part of the curriculum, and it runs through not only government policy but all school policies too. So it's a natural part of your inclusion policy, your anti-bullying policy, because no religion condones bullying at all. And following an anti-bullying policy to include homophobia, biphobia and transphobia is absolutely key to making the positive changes within all schools in every kind of setting.
She says it's against the will of God. That's the view of a London mother who's taken her son out of primary school in protest against lessons about same-sex relationships.
And then, crack! Out came their very own baby.
A group of 5- and 6-year-olds at a school in Dartford learning about different kinds of families.
It doesn't matter if it's a girl and a girl and a boy, or a boy and a boy, and then they get married, and then, yeah.
The head of this school is a gay man with 4 adopted children. He says it's important that children understand that same-sex relationships exist. At the moment, schools can choose to teach about relationships or not. But from next year, relationships education will be compulsory in primary schools, and same-sex relationships could be part of that teaching.
What we'd be looking for is LGBT plus inclusivity right from the get-go within the education system. So we would start right at nursery level and reception by rolling out a teacher training programme, updating policies and auditing the curriculum with very simple things like introducing LGBT picture books. So we have one, for instance, called Mama, Mama and Me, which is very, very simple, a family that has 2 mums. Or there's a lovely book called Are You a Boy or Are You a Girl by Sarah Savage and Fox Fisher. And the character Tiny ends by saying, well, I can be whatever I want to be because I am me. So we will be introducing books into the language and literacy framework and throughout the whole of the curriculum. So not just through assemblies, but also in every subject at every key stage, because we believe it's every teacher's responsibility to be inclusive. And we'd also look at the environment. You know, how are we increasing visibility in the environment and how are we engaging with the community? Not everybody identifies as heterosexual or identifies as male or female, and there are many of people that identify outside of that model, and we would encourage the teaching in schools to be a more intersectional approach. So when we are teaching, we're not teaching, for instance, like in our curriculum, we're not just teaching about dead white men. We'd probably have a more eclectic mix of people that we teach about. My name is Dr. Ellie Barnes and I am CEO of a charity called Educate and Celebrate. Now, we are all experienced teachers who transform educational establishments into LGBT plus friendly places.
I love baking and playing with Barbies. We made a scarf like Ruffles.
For us in nursery, the biggest change since we introduced Celebrate and Educate is the way that our youngest children view and understand gender and family structure. The way the children play families has been a big change. Usually young children love to play mums and dads, but in nursery we now play families. Recently I observed 3 children playing families. When they were deciding which character to be, one of them said, "Do we need a girl to be a mummy?" And the other child said, "Well, actually, why don't we just have 2 dads? We can still be a family." When it was time to tidy up, one of the children said, "I loved having 2 dads in that game. Can I be a dad next time?"
We had a child in year 1 who was very shy and lacked confidence in speaking about his family, particularly talking about having 2 dads. After reading the book Daddy, Papa and Me, he was so much more open and wanted to tell everyone about his dads.
I think we should challenge stereotypes.
It doesn't matter what body you're born in, it matters how you feel inside, whether you're a boy or a girl.
And this is where we ask our students and our teachers to mark key LGBT dates on the calendar. One of our busiest times is February, LGBT History Month, where we engage our students, our teachers, parents, governors and the local authorities in whole school change.
You don't have to be what your family has to tell you what to be.
So taking the LGBT plus inclusive work from the classroom out into the community is absolutely key to eradicating discrimination. So we can be who we are and we can bring sexual orientation and gender identity to the forefront of everyone's consciousness. And in that way, what we can then start doing is building a cohesive community with people and social justice at its core. Hi, I'm Ellie Barnes, LGBT Schools Advisor for Birmingham City Council.
She's the expert, she knows what she's doing. I'm really confident she's going to change the schools in Birmingham over the next couple of years.
The researchers in this project, if you read the reports, they're talking about how to query the classroom.
How to what?
How to querying the classroom. It's a theory.
Querying?
Querying.
Yeah. Meaning what? What's querying?
Exactly. I didn't know what this term meant, and this term...
Querying?
Querying, that's
Make
right.
kids gay?
Making
So paint feather boas and throw pillows.
Sorry, I'm just trying to understand this.
Well, yes, not quite making, but introducing ideology, ideas at a young age, where then where children grow up and they find and they accept this sexual and gender ideologies.
Right.
I enjoy how in our school every lesson is somehow linked to diversity.
It used to be the odd lesson where we talked about diversity, but now it never stops.